it is a Tuesday. That means we have a packed day full of guests. Our next guest is going to be Tim Ord. He is of the Ord Oracle. You can go visit his website at ord-oracle.com. Check out his newsletter and his book. We love having him come on every Tuesday and Thursday. Additionally, you can go to TFNN.com, go right over to the services tab, and we have 2 fantastic webinars. Again, I think the one that is most pertinent right now is going to be that secret science of market tops, but the 6 secret ratios every trader should know is also a phenomenal webinar. Tim, how are you doing?
Good. A little surprise here.
No kidding.
Anyhow, let's start on the bigger picture. I flipped over to the weekly charts because the daily charts were kind of just getting wiped out, I guess you might say. So you have to look at the bigger time frames, what's going on. And actually, we'll cover this first. But the first chart is the weekly SPY, going back to mid 2021, and it's just an indicator that's obviously it's easy to use. It doesn't get triggered very much, but when it does, it works pretty good. But all it is this is a weekly Bollinger Band on the weekly SPY. And if you get a close below the lower Bollinger Band on a weekly time frame, if you can go, I can go back years and years for this, and the probabilities are really high. But if you go back too far, you can't see what's going on. So I only went back to 2022. But on your own, it's an easy check. You can go back years, but you get a close below the Bollinger Band. Normally, it rallies back to, at least in most cases, back to the mid Bollinger Band, and we're way below the Bollinger Band right now. Now, if it doesn't close below the lower Bollinger Band, a lot of times you come back down. And last week, if you go over here, if you look at last week, we did get below the lower Bollinger Band. I'm circling over here on the right, and it closed above the Bollinger Band. I really didn't want to see that, but sometimes you keep going up anyhow. But now we're way below the Bollinger Band, so this is a good signal. Is today the exact low? Don't know, but this week, if we close below the lower Bollinger Band, most likely we will be at a low this week. And normally these rallies that come out of here are pretty fast and furious, and usually they're multi-week. Even in a bear market of 2022, which is this region back here, we have a couple of, it did right here, if you notice, we did go below the Bollinger Band. We didn't stick. It still popped. Here you went below the Bollinger Band. It didn't really pop. It kind of went up, came back down. But on this next week after, you did get a close below it. Right. Here's another one. Here's another one that actually went above the mid Bollinger Band. But I'm looking for a rally. If we do close below the lower Bollinger Band this week, I'm looking to rally back to the mid Bollinger Band, which comes in around 595 on the SPY. Sometimes you'll exceed it. Sometimes you don't quite get there, but most of the time that's usually a good target. Sometimes, like back in October 2023, we got here and it just kept on going. I don't think we're in that stage of a bull market here. I think we may find resistance at that mid Bollinger Band. So anyhow, that's what I'm looking at. Actually, I hope this week kind of remains flat, just as long as we close below the lower Bollinger Band. So that actually would probably increase a lot of people's anxiety too. Yeah. So fear is good in the market. If you don't have any fear, that's really bad. So if you don't have any fear in the market, you should be scared. So let's go to the next chart here. For some reason.
And so this will be a close for today, correct?
No,
or at any time
for the week.
For the week. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a weekly chart.
I see.
Yep, you like, so you don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want this to rally this week. Okay. All right, so that's the week. So today's Tuesday. We got 3 days. If the market could stay below the lower Bollinger Band, most likely we'll get that signal. But I think we probably will. It's trying to rally today. I'm hoping it stays weak. Here's another chart. I flipped to the weekly chart. I use this on the daily chart. It works pretty well. But sometimes you got to flip to the weekly charts. This chart, goes. All right. Too much here. But anyhow, this chart goes back to 2018. It calls tops and bottoms pretty good. The the COVID crash back in 2020. It called that pretty good. We're back down around 31.37. Mm-hmm. What it is the weekly SPX tilt ratio. So you're comparing the equity market to the bond market in general. So you're using the RSI for that. There's always an equilibrium between the two. If one gets pushed up too far compared to the other, you'll come back down, which is why I use the RSI. And so we're in a buy area for this on the weekly time frames.
Okay.
There's one failure back in 2021, but all the buy and sell since have worked out pretty well. I wasn't looking at this chart on the weekly chart at this last high. If I was looking at the daily chart, and the daily chart didn't get the RSI up there, but the weekly charts did twice. So anyhow, I missed that signal, but now we're basically back down into the bullish area. So I'm thinking the market probably just going to go kind of dead here. That's what I'm hoping for. Stay in this vicinity where we are and not move much. And then probably next week is, usually if you get high volatility markets, the market goes quiet. If you get quiet markets, the market volatility will really pick up.
I see.
So I'm thinking the market will be kind of quiet this week, rest of the week, and next week will be a screamer is what I'm thinking. Next week's also option expiration week, which normally is a bullish bias. So I think we're at a low. I'm long the market at a higher price, and we're going into a
Yes, we're going to break. And
commercial here pretty quick.
I think we have some questions as well, which I can pass on to you, especially regarding this. This is some fantastic stuff. Right. Especially, you're looking at I'm looking at even individual equities. You got some large volume to the downside over the past. It takes some breathing room, to build up some more energy to, either way, I suppose. So, Tim, please stay right there. Folks, we'll be right back after the break. Tim, before we went to the break, we're looking at the SPX tilt ratio. Perhaps some bottoming patterns kind of coming out here.
Yeah, this is on the weekly chart, so it's not a daily chart. But I don't think we're the way it's kind of setting up. I think we're just going to kind of set here. So let's go to the next chart. We got the weekly. So far, we got the weekly SPYs below the lower Bollinger Band. We got the SPY tilt ratio weekly SPY tilt ratio RSI below 30, which is it's kind of an exhaustion move. Here's another weekly. I blew it up a little bit. You can kind of see these signals a little bit better. And what I'm doing here, I'm kind of layering stuff on just to help me give me more confirmation. And these are on the weekly time frames, not the dailies. So the weeklies rule the dailies, the monthly rule the weeklies, So the chances of a weekly signal failing is less likely than a daily. And so a monthly signal is more important than a weekly signal and so on. So that's the reason why I'm looking at the weeklies now, because things push way past the dailies to make any sense. So you got to look at the bigger picture. Now, for some reason, all the weeklies fail. You have to go to the monthlies. So, but anyhow, I noticed here the bottom window is the VIX. Next window up is the SPY VIX ratio. And normally, if you get the ratio, the SPY VIX ratio in the weekly time frame to hit this lower Bollinger Band or the upper lower band, you're normally at a reversal. And back in 2023, this low was picked out by the VIX and also closing below the mid Bollinger Band. And again, we're below, way below the SPY VIX ratio on the weekly time frames, way below the lower Bollinger Band. And also we're below the lower Bollinger Band on the weekly SPY. So it's kind of a double signal here.
Sure.
Just kind of reinforcing the idea that we're probably at some sort of important low. How big a low, don't know. And actually, I sent you over a chart.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to cover that in a second. This is what needs to happen on this next rally, what the chart I sent you. So let's see if we get, what's this next one? Oh, here's a blown up chart. This is what I want to look at. But you can see here you didn't close below the lower Bollinger Band. You still got to bounce. Here you closed below lower. You did not close below the lower
Yes.
Bollinger Band here, but you still bounced. Here, same thing. Here you did close, and finally you get a rally to the mid Bollinger Band. Here you didn't, but here you did. You get a rally, didn't go very far. Here you got another one. Market gaps up. This is probably what's going to happen next week. Something like this. It's going to, if we close below the lower Bollinger Band this week, most likely you're going to gap up next week.
I see.
And probably have something similar to this. That's what I'm thinking. So we'll have to wait and see if that comes to fruition. Here's another one. You get a close. If you notice there, we gapped up again. So we'll see how that happens. And let's turn our attention to that chart I sent you.
Yes. Do you need me to pull it up for you?
Yeah, go ahead and pull it
Okay,
up.
give me 1 second here. This is the swag brought thrust, correct?
Yep.
Just one moment. All right.
I meant to put that in today's PowerPoint, but I don't know. I got busy a little bit.
Oh, I get how it is. For sure. All right, let's turn over here then. Yep, I have it up here, hopefully.
All right. So, okay.
Yep, we're good
ready?
to go. Yep.
All right. So anyhow, so all these charts I've been showing, the last 4 charts I've shown you, lows probably this week, and I'm hoping the S&P stays below the lower Bollinger Band. If it does, the signal will get more power to it. If it closes above it, it takes some of the power away. So you want to actually stay below. So we got another 3 trading days to go for that to happen. So I'm hoping the market goes dead. Now, if we do get that signal and the market takes off next week, if you look at the bottom window, that's the Zwag breast thrust indicator. I covered on your show several different times, but it needs to get below 0.40. And the reading today was 0.39. So we got there, and now it needs to rally to 0.6 in 10 days. 10 days is 2 weeks. So if we get that, so this week maybe just stays around this 0.4 area or even lower, I don't care. But over the next 2 weeks, I want to see the Zwag breast thrust indicator go from 0.4 to 0.6. And if it does, that opens a whole new door to the upside. This is, if we do get to 0.6, that would be a breast thrust indicator, and they're supposedly only come in bull markets. We did get one back in January. All the shaded pink areas of time when you got them. And sometimes they're a little away from the low, but in general, we got one here back in January. If we get another one, I think this is still a bull market. If we don't, then that Zwag breast thrust indicator in January, to me, has just been a failure. And you have failures every once in a while. I mean, nothing's 100%. They are pretty rare when they fail. But if we get 2 in a row within, a couple of months of each other, that would open the whole door that, my opinion, if that does happen, then this is probably the head of a head and shoulders bottom, and we go back up to the previous highs. So we'll see if that happens or not. So 2 weeks from, it's hard to. I think the Bragg thrust indicator is going to stay around 0.4 or lower this week, probably until Friday. So you really don't start counting until it actually turns up. So it may not start. It could start today. It could start tomorrow. It could start Friday. It could start next Monday. But whenever it starts turning up, that's the time it starts counting. And so we'll see how that lays out. But if we do get to 0.6 in 10 business days, then we'll see. Will it happen? Don't know. But if it does happen, then I'm back to bullish. If it doesn't happen, I think we're just kind of sideways this year. You have a couple questions?
There was one in the. Give me a second to kind of pull this back. I know we're about to go to a break here. A second. This might be kind of weird here. All right, let's see. So we did have one in the den, and it was a question about the Trin and ticks. Let me see if I can pull this up here. He was saying, if I can get Tim's point of view over the Trin and tick being in balance versus in extremes, the mode is the SPY ES Mini. So I'm assuming kind of contrasting against the SPY and the ES Mini, but I know we're about to go to the break here. I don't know if that's something you can answer right now or if you want to have some charts for Thursday for it.
So he's at, well, actually the 10-day trend is not, it's like point one is neutral. So, all right. I'll answer when we come back.
Yeah, hang right there, Tim. Folks, we'll be right back with Tim Ward after the break. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Tim got a short segment here. Yeah, so I guess for him to clear up the question, he's saying, yes, the fact that the trend tick have been neutral, but the ES price has been so volatile. Do you have a point of view on that? If that's something you see.
So he's asking about the trend and tick.
That's right.
Compared to futures.
Yes. So he's saying that they've been neutral, but the E-mini has been so volatile. What's kind of your thought on that, if you have any?
I don't know. I mean, the market is volatile here, but the trend's not responding for some reason, and it's not all indicators work all the time, but the trend and ticks, right? Ticks are working okay, but the trend's not.
Right.
So
right.
I don't have a reason for it. I'll put it that way.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. So, but yeah, let's go to this chart. I got a minute and a half here, but if you notice on these rallies, I circled the volume.
Yes.
And the tall tail sign out of these lows will be the volume. If that volume is not higher than compared to the down volume, those rallies are not going to last. So out of this hole we're in right now, that volume's got to expand and be higher than the volume going down into the hole. So if we don't have that volume going up, chances are this next rally won't last. So that's another key sign.
Right.
So something to watch. Let's flip over to the gold issues. This is the weekly advanced decline cumulative. We're still on a buy. This is current. Both those charts, advanced decline and up-down volume, are both above the mid-Bollinger Band. The trend's up. This is a weekly chart. These signals last 1.5 to 3 years, so that's good. Whoops. This is a trend falling indicator. I'm thinking once this thing gets above zero, a lot of times you can stay above zero for months. This one back in late 2022, 2023 was 5 months. This one is 16 months. So trends up on GDX.
Fantastic. Well, Tim, thank you so much. I know we had to cut it short, but that was such good information. I think we really got in depth, at least on the SPX. But yeah, we'll see you Thursday, okay, Tim?
See you Thursday. Sounds good. Thanks.